All right. So we're good?
Back it up. I'm at the beginning.
I could do that from here, I guess. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right, so we're going to go into the DNA series part 3, right? So remember the objective is to kind of see a little bit of how DNA works in our bodies and how it actually works in Scripture and see some parallels between the two. All right, so the week before, a lot of you said you guys don't remember a lot of DNA stuff in school and high school and college, things like that, right? So I got 2 small videos to help get you up to speed for the class.
Oh.
All right. So you have to bear with it. These are the rules for the class here, or for the lesson here. These rules are due to time and the recordings of the lesson. These are live teaching, so we must give the Moreh enough time to complete the lesson. The things that we need to know is keep your mic muted, except when asking or answering a question. Use the mic to speak. There is a feature on there for the room for those that want to raise their hand, have something to say. That way someone's going to be monitoring that. So if you had something, you can raise your hand. They'll unmute you, or you can unmute yourself at that time. All questions must be on topic, and you have 60 seconds to ask or answer a question. If you pass 60 seconds, right, what happens? The mic will be muted for you. Now, I'm not telling you again, you don't have to stop talking. We just won't hear you. That's the only difference. Okay? Huh? We got people monitoring the chat box. Everything will be good to go. All right. So let's get started with the actual lesson here. You good? Okay. Oh, okay. Is that what that means? Okay. We definitely need an update, huh? Okay. That should do it. All right. So, a brief look at DNA to protein. Now, we're going to talk about protein maybe next week, but just watch how this process works, and then we're going to see, can we see this process in Scripture?
Here is a cell, the basic unit of all living tissue. In most human cells, there is a structure called the nucleus. The nucleus contains the genome. In humans, the genome is split between 23 pairs of chromosomes.
We'll talk about chromosomes next week.
Each chromosome contains a long strand of DNA, tightly packaged around proteins called histones.
We'll talk about that next week.
Within the DNA are sections called genes. These genes contain the instructions for making proteins. When a gene is switched on, an enzyme called RNA polymerase attaches to the start of the gene.
Remember,
it moves along the DNA, making a strand of messenger RNA out of free bases in the nucleus.
Remember bases.
The DNA code determines the order in which the free bases are added to the messenger RNA.
Remember codes, and it sets and substitutes.
This process is called transcription. Before the messenger RNA can be used as a template for the production of proteins, it needs to be processed. This involves removing and adding sections of RNA. The messenger RNA then moves out of the nucleus into the cytoplasm.
Remember that. It goes out of the nucleus into the cytoplasm.
Protein factories in the cytoplasm, called ribosomes, bind to the messenger RNA. The ribosome reads the code in the messenger RNA to produce a chain made up of amino acids.
See those 3 codons?
There are 20 different types of amino acids.
We'll see how that goes in a minute.
Transfer RNA molecules carry the amino acids to the ribosome. The messenger RNA is read 3 bases at a time. As each triplet is read, a transfer RNA delivers the corresponding amino acid. This is added to a growing chain of amino acids. Once the last amino acid has been added, the chain folds into a complex 3D shape to form the protein.
All right. Everyone remember all this in school? Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, all right, no worries.
Yeah, it's for those that went to a medical course type.
It's all good.
Yeah, we don't know.
Okay. All right, so a couple of things that we'll talk about. DNA has 2 strands, right? Everyone's familiar with that. Picture of 2 becomes 1. So you remember we're going to talk about how the RNA, the messenger RNA, we're going to see the messenger RNA as the Messiah or as the Mashiach. He's going to be considered the messenger RNA. All right? And then notice what happens. What happens to the messenger RNA? It did what? So it left out of the nucleus, and then it went into the cytoplasm, right? The cytoplasm, we're going to view that as the world, if you will. Viruses, things like that, is going to be attacked in the world or in the cytoplasm, not in the DNA, not in the nucleus. Okay? So it's strange how when you come out of when the RNA, when the messenger comes out, then he's subject to be attacked. Okay? Keep that in mind. 2 sticks, we'll talk about it later about the 2 sticks, the 2 houses becoming 1 strand in the future, because we all know that the house is divided, right? So the objective is with the Messiah, he's going to make the 2 sticks 1 in his hand, which you can find in Ezekiel chapter 37. And then lastly, the 2 pair bonds, we'll see that later on, and then the 3 codons. We'll see Y3, Y2. Okay? Is everyone with me so far? Okay. All right. There's only one more video, and then we can really get going. But since you guys didn't remember some of that, I figured this might have jogged some of you guys' memory, but I don't think.
It's jogging somebody's memory.
Okay. All right, so here we got the understanding of RNA from the DNA. So mind you, when you look at this picture here, notice that the coils, you guys see the coils, right? And then you see it unravel, and there's a fork. Later on, we're going to talk about leading strand, lagging strand. You're going to see the leading strand as the Messiah. The lagging strand follows the leading strand. We'll see how that works next week. All right? So they are twisted together to become 1 strand, 1 flesh, if you will. When they are separated, they cannot produce life. Right? So when the strands are separated, there's no life being made. Okay? So the 2 has to become 1 to produce life. Okay, so helicase runs opposite of each other, which we'll talk about more next week. They work together. 1 strand is a leading strand, 1 is a lagging strand. Both cannot be leading strands. What does that mean? Both can't be leading strands. Can't have 2 heads, right? 1 leads, 1 follows. Doesn't mean the one that's following is not important at all. I want us to keep that in mind. All right, so replication must be based off of the DNA or the information that the DNA gives the RNA, okay? I gave an example here. Bereshit or Genesis chapter 2, verse 20 says, and Adam gave names to all the cattle and the fowls of the air and to every beast of the field, but to Adam there was not found a help mate for him. So we know the word for help is ezer, right? But the word for meat, what is that word meat? What does that mean? Help meet. Huh?
Suitable.
Suitable, compatible? Okay, let's look. The word there is nagad, or as they would say, neged. It literally means someone that is opposite. Okay? It means someone that professes, someone that manifests, someone that exposes, someone that explains, someone that rehearses. So why would the Father need a woman that's the opposite of the man, so to speak, in this particular. And it doesn't mean opposite in a bad way. So we'll talk about that later on. But why would he make a woman like this, a nagad? Why would that? Hmm?
Because see,
Hmm?
explaining
The law of magnetism that the opposite.
You said you need a mic? I wasn't sure.
Oh,
You said you need a mic? Okay. Okay.
I'm thinking the law of magnetism and how the opposites attract and likes repel.
Okay.
So they come together.
That was a good guess. I appreciate you guessing. Anyone else?
he wouldn't make two of the same because
How about sisters? Let me first just talk to the sisters. Maybe the brothers is trying to guess for the sisters. I know the sisters know. So, brothers, stop guessing for these sisters. These sisters already know.
made you opposites.
Mm-hmm. Okay?
So, from my understanding, is to be able, like if you're standing and looking at me and I'm standing looking at you, I could see what's behind you or see a danger that's coming that you don't see, and vice versa for me.
Okay. All right. So the opposite meaning that one standing on the opposite side of you, and that person is looking at you in your eyes. That means you have that person's back. This person has your back. So she's the opposite side of you so that she can be able to help out. Right? The other part is to profess or to manifest, to expose, to explain. In other words, she's helping. She's expounding on things. Is everyone with me so far? So when we actually talk about, let's say, more into a relationship, we'll get a little bit more deep into that. But just only because the word there for opposite, I want you to see how the lagging strand is going to be running opposite of the leading strand. But doesn't mean that the lagging strand is going contrary, meaning something negative towards the leading strand. That's not what that means. Right. It's going to help in a way that we'll see later on. Okay. All right, so here's the final video. This is RNA. Is it a duplication or a replication? Does anyone know? Replication, not duplication?
Can it be both?
Is there a difference between duplication and replication?
I asked you that question.
Huh? Okay.
Duplication is just like replication is made of. Duplication is made just like, and replication is made somewhat like.
Okay. All right, so let's look at this one little video. After we look at this video, we'll talk about it.
It's like a copy.
Okay. Duplication or replication?
Replication.
What's a duplication? All right. See, no worries. I just, huh?
Yeah, but it's a copy.
You said replication, right?
No, duplication is
Okay.
a copy of the original.
Okay. What's a replication?
Replication is a fortified, or not fortified, but falsified copy.
Falsified copy?
Well, it's not a duplicate, so it's not exactly what was there. So it's something that's been changed, or trying to copy what the original is.
Mm-hmm.
Mimic it, replicating it. You're mimicking it.
Okay.
Exactly.
A
Okay.
duplication is making an exact copy of an existing of the existing object, and a replication is making like many copies of the same object.
Okay.
That's
All right.
like when a car or whatever on a line or whatever. It's
Okay.
making a same. You're replicating the same car.
Okay.
With cheaper materials, per se.
No problem. No problem. If someone had a question? Okay, they got it. Okay. So we'll watch this quick video, and then we'll get into it, and then we'll go from here. Okay?
nucleic acids are the building blocks of life. Wait, but isn't DNA the building blocks of life? Yes, both are correct. DNA is a type of nucleic acid, and in this video we are going to have a quick look at another type, RNA. We have both DNA and RNA in our bodies. We need them both. DNA is the blueprint. It contains all of the instructions for the cell to grow, function, and replicate. The RNA carries out these instructions. It copies and transfers the genetic code from the DNA to ensure the relevant proteins are made. So just think of it as DNA makes RNA makes proteins. So let's look at how they differ. Whereas DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, RNA stands for ribonucleic acid. Whilst DNA is double-stranded, RNA is single-stranded. Like DNA, RNA is made up of a long chain of nucleotides. Each nucleotide consists of a ribose sugar, phosphate group, and nucleotide base. RNA has a sugar called ribose, whereas DNA has a sugar called deoxyribose. Look here, RNA has a base, uracil, or U, whereas DNA has the base thymine, or T. So in RNA, C and G still pair, but now A and U pair. We need to know about RNA because we will see it when learning about protein synthesis. We will see these two special types of RNA, messenger RNA, which is known as mRNA, and transfer RNA, which is known as tRNA. We will see the mRNA being synthesized inside the nucleus, copied from the DNA code. The tRNA is found in the cytoplasm. For many years, we just thought RNA was a DNA photocopier, as mRNA, the protein builder, as tRNA, and found in ribosomes as rRNA. However, RNA can also act as enzymes to speed up chemical reactions, and in many viruses, they have RNA instead of DNA. The RNA carries the genetic codes in those viruses. So there we have RNA. From this video, you should now know about the existence of RNA. It is a single-stranded nucleic acid that has a base U instead of base T.
All right. You can turn the lights on now. Okay. Y'all not? Okay. All right. So, to make things simplified, I guess. That was pretty easy, actually. Okay, all right. And so I hope we can see a pattern between the Father and the Son, and between the Son and the body of believers. So I'll tell you what that is now. We'll go into the body of believers next week, but we got to talk about us as a whole first before I get into that, what that is. So view the Father as in the nucleus, right? He's in the nucleus. There's no viruses, there's no nothing in that. It's just he's in the DNA. But to get his information out, or to get his message out, comes the messenger RNA. Okay? The RNA comes out of the nucleus into the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is, if you will, the world. It can subject to viruses, diseases, X, Y, and Z. So if I say that's the Mashiach, he's subject to people, liking him, hating him, you name it, he's coming out. Right? But he's coming out so that he can bond with somebody, right? And in that bonding, hopefully create which we'll talk about in just a minute, create a like being that's just like him to bring us closer to being like the DNA. We're going to find out that's going to be the protein. You're going to be the protein, and we're going to see how that works next week. Okay? Now, duplication or replication, we'll talk about that. So the messenger RNA leaves the nucleus, which I just said the Father is. Okay, we're good for that. So here we go. Duplication is something that is what? It's the same thing. Replication is similar, something that is a reverberation or a copy of the original. RNA is a replication and not a duplication. Something is left behind. So we saw in the thing, you saw that the thymine is left behind and it picks up uracil, which we'll talk about later on. But in layman terms, think about a scribe. A scribe, if the Torah scroll is getting too old, right? he's replicating what he sees on the actual scroll. Transcribing, transcription. That's how that works, okay? Is everyone with me so far? It'll come clear as we keep going into this here. All right, so we talk about the oral seal, we're going to be good. So the messenger RNA's purpose, John 17:4 says, I have esteemed you on the earth. I have finished the work which you gave me to do. And now, O Father, esteem me with your own self, with the esteem which I had with you before the world was. So was he missing something? Something was removed from him when he came out of, if you will, the Father. Now he said, give me the esteem I had before the world was. Right? Okay. Philippians 2:5 says, let this mind be in you, which was also in Yahushua the Mashiach, who being in the form of Elohim, thought it not robbery to be equal or similar with Elohim, but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant. Remember, the messenger RNA comes out as the messenger or the servant on behalf of the DNA. Is everyone with me so far? Okay, great. And was made in the likeness of who? Man. Are you in the likeness of the Father? We are? He got flesh, Father got flesh, he got blood, he got... Okay. So we're talking about something internal, right? Okay, so we'll see something a little bit later on. So verse 8 says, and being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death on the cross or the stake. Wherefore Elohim also has highly exalted him and has given him a name which is above every name. All right? So does everyone see a picture of how the Mashiach or the Messiah is a picture of RNA, and how the DNA is still in the nucleus, or still... Okay, great. We'll see something in just a minute. All right, so the RNA messenger is sent out from the nucleus, i.e. the Father, to produce a body. The messenger comes out and is exposed to the world, the cytoplasm, without defect, to join with those that want to be without defect or without spot or wrinkle. That's what he's looking for. Is everyone good so far? No questions? Okay. Chromosome. We'll talk about chromosome next week. But question is, what does this chromosome look like? Looks like a tav, an ancient Hebrew tav, right? Okay, Hebrew letter tav. At the time of Ezekiel, that's how it looks. There's some other ones that looks like an X, if you will, but that's a tav. Is everyone good? Okay, great. This is a picture found in which has the tav on here. Does anyone see it? All right. All right. Does anyone know what this says? No? Okay. So the top, you see the mem. This is in actually Paleo Hebrew. So it says on here, mit lebaalt, which literally means deaf to Baal. It's the feminine form of deaf to Baal or Baal. Okay? But anyway, we'll keep going here. All right, so it is a coincidence that the chromosome has all the genetic information to produce life. And it happens to look like the ancient Hebrew tav, or tau, if you will. Okay? Now, question becomes, what does the word tav or tau mean? Well, Ezekiel 9:4 says, and Yahuah said unto him, go through the midst of the city, throughout the midst of Jerusalem, and set a tau or a tav or a mark upon the foreheads. Okay? The mark behind the foreheads. So again, just showing you that the Hebrew letter means something, and just when I say coincidence, to say that this is a mark or a sign, as it says in Ephesians, how the Spirit of the Father, the Ruach, is going to put a seal or a mark on our forehead. And also, it's going to, give us life, if you will, right? No difference in the chromosome. Has all the genetics that you need for life. Both have the same principle. All right. Just some coincidence. I'll give you a couple more, then we'll keep moving. Protein. Everyone's familiar with protein. 22 amino acids are very important to human health. Of the 22 amino acids of your body, make 13, and the other 9 acids are called essential amino acids because it's essential that you get them from the foods you eat. Okay? So I think eating a certain way will help preserve our life, right? But we're not here to talk about that now. I just want to show you just the 22 amino acids. They are needed for vital process like the building of protein and synthesis. We'll talk about that next week. In order to produce life, we need all 22 amino acids. There are 22 knobs on the menorah. Okay. Just so happens. These are all coincidences, I'm sure. Okay, so as we know, 22 knobs on the menorah. You got 22 bones in the head, in the skull, where light's supposed to be coming out of. But anyway, again, 22 bones in your skull, and we're supposed to represent light, or be a being of light, and we'll talk about all that next week. But then the last coincidence, obviously, there's 22 Hebrew letters. All these coincidences pretty decent. Anyway, so what does tree and backbone have in common? A tree. Okay. So in the picture you see a spine. Okay, that's awesome. All right. So the reason I'm asking is because are we not compared to a tree? So if we're compared to a tree, why? Why would he compare us to a tree?
Yes.
Why? Why would he need to do that? Anyone? We'll read about it in just a minute, but is that necessary? Okay, so if he said it is, then it must be. Okay. All right. No worries. The Hebrew word for tree is etz, or chetz, if you want to do a little more ancient. Chetz means tree, right? Look at the letters. If you don't know Hebrew, just look at the letters as a picture, if you will. You see the ayin, you see the final form sadi. Remember your final form sadi, Abiyahu? It looks a little different, doesn't it? Okay. All right, no worries. All right, so now, it tells you it comes from 6095. 6095 says, properly to fasten or to make firm, right? Look down below that. Atzei says from the spine as being firmness to the body backbone. So how is a tree, and in its etymology, deals with backbone and being firm? Like, how is this? What do you get out of that? He said, I couldn't hear you. It's so low. Oh, there you go.
It supports the branches.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it supports the branches. Okay.
It supports the branches just like the spine supports the body. It is to hold up the body like the tree supports the branches of a tree. The spine supports the arms and the legs of the body.
Okay.
Basically the same thing.
Same
I was
thing.
going to say is strength.
Okay, strength. Kananyahu had a question?
More of a statement. Shalom.
Shalom.
Okay, so if the seed is the word of Elohim, where does the tree come from? It comes from the seed.
Mm-hmm.
So to be having a foundation, the backbone would be the word of Yahuah.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? All right. Everyone sees the letters, right? You see the chetz is a 2-letter pair, if you will. You see 3 letters, and you're starting to see that there's going to be, as we keep going, you're going to see some similarities, and you're going to see why we're being compared to a tree. But I just want to initially see where everybody's mindset is. Someone else had something?
Even with the roots of the tree is firm. Okay, I raise my hand.
Okay.
I could under the tree, look at the roots. The roots is like it's down in there, like we supposed to be in the Father.
Right.
firm and strong.
Right. So you remember part one, we showed how a seed, how it starts off in the ground. It's a seed that you can't see, right? Something that you believe in, but you can't see it. And then that seed starts to grow downward to create roots. And as it grows out of that, you still won't know what it is, but you see it growing out of the ground because it's as long as it's in good ground, right? And it comes out, and then you start to see later on produce fruit, and then you can say, I know them by their fruit, right? Okay, good. All right, but keep looking at these letters here. Look at see the three letters here? That's not from the same root, but look what it says. It's the same word for etzah. Chetzah is the same word to mean to get advice, to get counsel from, things like that. Why is that important? So think about what happened in the garden. Did he get counsel from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Did he get counsel? I'm not telling you if it's good counsel, bad counsel. My point is, did he get counsel? That's all I'm saying.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Okay, so the serpent gave some counsel to Yahuah or to Eve, and Eve said, hey, that sounds good. Adam, listen to me. He says, coronavirus. No, so what happened is they wind up getting counsel. But I want you to see is the pattern that happens in the garden, how the tree got some counsel, and it affected everyone else. Is everyone good so far? Okay. All right, so we are compared to a tree. All right, we are compared to a tree. Isaiah 61:3 says, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion or Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes and the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of Yahuah, that he might be esteemed, or as the King James says, glorified, right? So again, why is he comparing it to a tree? Now, I found, years ago, I found this interesting, so I'm going to bring it back up now, if you don't mind. The word for esteemed, or the word for glorified in the King James, right? Keep this in mind. This is what it says. It's the word that is pa'er, and it means headdress, beauty, turban, bonnet, goodness. Why would that be good? Why would a turban or a headdress or a bonnet that's on your head, why is that good?
It's covering you.
They couldn't really hear you only because you're talking really low. Oh, there
It's like
it is.
covering.
Covering.
Okay. All right, but you see here, though, it's considered something that is good, it's beautiful, right? This is why he had the high priest, for an example, wear coverings when he come into his presence. It's considered something righteous. So this lesson is not about head covering, but I'm just saying, since we're talking about trees of righteousness, just understand that there is a connection, all right? Next one is Zechariah 4:1. And ha-malach, or the messenger or the angel that talked with me, came again and waked me as a man that is wakened out of his sleep. And he said unto me, what see you? And I said, I have looked, and behold, a menorah, or a morot, all the gold and bowl upon the top of it, and his 7 lamps thereon, and 7 pipes to the 7 lamps, which are upon the top thereof, and 2 olive trees by it, one upon the right side of the bowl and the other upon the left side of the bowl. We're not going to talk about it today, but I want you to, if you want to do some homework, why is there a connection between trees, menorah, light, the bowl with oil in it? They're all a connection. Okay? Unless you guys know, we can talk about it right now if you got it. Can? Okay. So again, as I said, right now, all we're just talking about now is just building something up for the future. That's all we're doing right now. So, okay, she's coming upstairs. She needs the mic.
Can it be that um, it's a connect. I could see the connection, like the tree can produce oil, and the oil in the manure brings life.
Okay, so what you see so far is you know that to get light, back in the day, they had pressed olive oil.
Yes.
These are two olive trees, right? Okay, so we working on it. Any more? Okay, no problem. This would be a good topic to discuss in the future. All right. So Psalms 1:1 says, "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the chetzah," the counsel, same word for tree, right? Or the root word chetzah has the same three-letter roots letter-wise that for the word for tree, but it's not the same exact root word. "Of the wicked, nor stands in the way of the sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the Torah, in the law of Yahuah, and in his law, in his Torah does he meditate day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that brings forth his fruit in his season, and his leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper." Why the comparison between the law and this tree being planted? You guys should know this now. Yeah. Even online, I'm willing to hear you. See?
It's a tree of life.
Okay. So what I want you to compare, right? Are you guys being quiet for a reason, or you think it's a trick question or something? I'm trying to figure this thing out.
I think it's because it's stable.
Huh?
I think it's because it's stable.
Okay. All right. So for an example.
Source.
Go ahead.
It's our source.
Okay.
Of plants.
It's our instructions, right? It's our source. Okay, no problem. So if your delight is in Yahuwah's instructions, and you know that his instructions to give you long life, if it's designed to give you the fruit that you need that he's looking for, not your own personal fruit, his fruit, then you can see the same understanding just like the tree. The tree planted by the rivers of water brings forth its fruit in his season. Same principle as we learn and grow. You're not going to be growing. You're going to learn at your season, if you will. Your daily bread, as you grow, you will get it as you learn more in your season, right? But if you get it, his leaf shall not wither, but be like whatsoever shall do shall it prosper. That means the more I learn his word, the more I grow, the more I can prosper in his word. Is everyone with me so far? Okay? Okay. Kananya, who had something?
Yes. In Psalms 1:1, the word for blessed, isn't that a share instead of Baruch?
Right. It's a sharp
So
meaning.
doesn't that kind of, sorry about that. Doesn't that kind of represent to be straight up, to be on a beaten path?
Well, not so much yashar, but ashar, which means to be happy.
But the root word, would it mean to be stand erect or stand justly?
Well, yashar would be, but the root of the word for ashar, that root means to be happy.
Okay.
The root word for
shalom.
the root word for yashar means to be upright and straight.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so Tehillim or Psalms 92:12 says, "The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like the cedar in Lebanon." Revelation 22:1 and 2 says, "And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Elohim and of the Lamb. In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there tree of life, which bears 12 manners of fruit, and yielding her fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations." Now, can anyone see what's happening in Revelations, as this is a prophecy, right? What can you glean out of this prophecy here? And specifically verse 2. So if we're talking about the tree of life, right? And it talks about it bears 12. Why 12? Why not 13, 14, 15, 16? Why 12?
It could be 12, the 12 months of the year, the 12 apostles.
Okay. So we say, okay, go ahead.
There was, I'm reading, in the midst of the street. On either sides of the river there was a tree of life, which bare 12 in the manner of fruits. The 12 apostles, the 12 months out of the year, and yield her fruit every month. So every month there was a different fruit, and the leaves were for healing the nations. So
Okay. So could the fruit, as a picture of, let's say, the 12 tribes of Israel, right? And if you guys have the fruit or the seed, and you're yielding, and you go out every month, could this be the healing for the nations? In other words, is your job to go out to all the nations and produce and share his word? Is that the case?
Okay.
Okay. All right, no problem. We'll keep going. All right, Jeremiah 17:7-8 says, "Blessed is the man that trusts in Yahuah and whose hope Yahuah is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreads out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat comes, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the years of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit." See the comparison of the tree, right? Hosea 14:5 says, "And I will be like the dew of Israel, to Israel. He shall blossom like the lily. He shall take root like the tree of Lebanon. His shoots shall spread out. His beauty shall be like the olive, and his fragrance like Lebanon. They shall return and dwell beneath my shadow." So what are they going to do? They're going to go what? Dwell. So they're going to return and dwell beneath my shadows. They shall flourish like the grain. They shall blossom like the gaphane, the vine, the gaphane. That's the same word we get for grapes or grape juice, gaphane. Their fame shall be like the wine of Lebanon. Okay, now keep this in mind. Why? Specifically this particular vine. So John 15:1 says, "I am the true vine, the gaphane of who? And my Father is the." Okay, if you're trying to return back to the right vine, somebody got to mediate that. And we'll see what that is in a minute. Well, we already know it's the messenger RNA, but we're going to see a little bit more into that in just a minute. Okay, is anyone confused, lost? Everyone's good? It's going to come, trust me. Okay?
sorry, Moreh, I meant the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. We knew exactly what you meant. All right. All right, we'll keep going here. So you remember the picture, right? Compared to trees, Psalms are telling 139:15 says, "My substance was not hid from you when I was made in secret and curiously wrought in the lowest part of the earth." Can anyone help me out with this translation? Now, this is King James, so you guys should be good. Huh? Talk to me. Okay. Let me give you the hint first of substance. Now, you remember the first two letters is the same for tree, right? Now we have the mem, but it means what? Power, strength, body, might, substance, bone. You had something, Aki?
I mean, I'm just looking at Psalms 139.
Me too.
15, and it's just basically giving you an example of a seed being within the earth and it having all of the information in order to bring forth that mighty tree.
Exactly. Okay. Hallelujah. Curiously wrought. Now, curiously wrought means, I'll go ahead and just get, because I'm not sure if anyone's going to guess that one. But anyway, the word there is rakam. Rakam literally means something that's embroidered work, needlework, twisted thread, as like a DNA helix. Okay? So we'll see how that works later. All right, so comparing the tree. Everyone see here, we're not going to go into all this today, but you see a plant cell, you see a human cell, you see an animal cell. And I said this picture can also give you a visual of how the kingdom of Elohim how it looks like. Can anyone see what that looks like? So the little ball that's in the center. The little ball in the center is the nucleus, right? You see the throne, you see the surroundings, where the Melachim, or the light. You can actually see these things, but we'll get into this later on. But I just want you to see from out here. Well, I'll table it about the chloroplast and share with you how light works, chlorophyll, and how light works in our body versus with the plant. But my point is that there is a pattern that you should see that's even all the way down to our DNA. We should be able to see Elohim all the way into our blood, is what we're getting at, okay? All right, salt of the earth. How many is salt of the earth? How many believe they're salt of the earth? So just a couple of us are salt of the earth. What are the rest of you guys? Oh, they're the pepper of the earth. Okay. They want to burn your mouth. Either you're salt or you're the pepper. Okay, I got it. I understand. All right. Matthew 5:30 says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost its savor," have you ever tasted a salt that's lost it? No. Okay. Okay. "Wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men." So, if the salt is no longer useful, then it's going to be where? Cast out. Cast out. I want you to put those pictures together. Either you will be the salt of the earth, or you're good enough to be cast out of the earth. Not stay in the earth, but where? Cast out. Okay? Keep that in mind. I want you to see it, because normally in a rapture theory, those that leave is the ones that are saved, and those that are left behind are in trouble. Right? But in the scriptures, it's not true. So we'll see that in just a minute. Okay? Now, if you want to be raptured out, I strongly ask you guys to pray about leaving. Okay? All right. So anyway, we'll keep going. Mark 9:50 says, "Salt is good, but if the salt has lost its saltiness, wherewith will you season it?" Now listen, have salt in where? Yourselves, and have shalom, peace, one with another. How many of us have lost that peace, lost that shalom with one another? So if you lost that, all over. Remember, salt of the earth. So it could be in this room, it could be online, it could be wherever it is. My point is that you know this situation if you're in one. If you're the salt, hallelujah, you're good. If you're not, you're worth being cast out. Is that what you want? Is that what you're looking for? Okay. Some people say, I don't know yet. Let me meditate on his word day and night. Okay, I got it. I got to pray, see what the Father tells me. All right, I got it. Numbers, about 18:19. "All the heave offering of the Kodeshim things, or the set apart things, which the children of Israel offer unto Yahuah, have I given you, and your sons and your daughters with you, by a statute forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before Yahuah unto you and to your seed with you." There's a covenant of salt. Okay? We talked about that, so we don't need to rehash that. And then there's another one in 2 Chronicles 13:5. It says, "Ought you not to know that Yahuah Adonai of Israel gave the kingdom over to Israel to Daud," or David, "forever, even to him and to his sons, by a covenant of salt"? So salt is good. I'm not talking about the iodine salt. I'm talking about that good sea salt. Okay? If you ever want a good cleansing, if you want a good cleansing, get yourself a quart of water, 4 tablespoons of sea salt, and your scriptures. You're going to be in the bathroom for a minute.
You ain't lying.
Okay. All right. Just in case yes, just in case. That might help you out a little bit. Okay, so You are to be the salt, the light. You are to change them, meaning you're being the salt, you're being the light. You're supposed to change them, not them change you. Okay? Not the nations or the nations' ways changing you. Therefore, we were commanded not to do what? Learn their ways. He said, don't learn the ways of the Gentiles. But sometimes the Gentiles got some eye openers, some things that we might like, some things that looks pleasing to us. So we say, well, you know, I don't see if this is going against the Torah, so let me try that. Right? Don't learn the ways of the Gentile. All right, we'll keep going. All right, so the energy or the work in the field. Matthew 13:38 says the field is the world. Remember I told you about the cytoplasm. It's the same principle inside of a cell, inside the cell. The good seed are the children of the kingdom. So if you're that good seed, you should have, within the seed, you should have the right DNA. You should have everything you need to produce good fruit, right? But the tares are the children of the wicked one. Right? So I know none of us, so we good. So 24, 40, and 41 says, then shall two be in the field. The one shall be taken and the other left. The one that's taken, that's the one I want to be taken. Are you sure you want to be taken? Is that okay? Two women shall be. Now mind you, the word women shall be is added to the text. Right? It's really two grinding at the mill. So women, you're saved. All right. Anyway, the one shall be taken and the other left. Keep this in mind. We're going to keep going. 25:30. And cast you to the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. There's one that's going to be taken away. If you want to call it rapture, sure. All right, because they're getting that maybe confused with Thessalonians. So anyway, Luke 13:27-20 says, but he shall say, I tell you, I know you not whence you are. Depart from me, all workers of iniquity. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth when you shall see Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, or Jacob, and all the prophets in the kingdom of Elohim, and you yourself thrust out. You got to ask yourself, is this in heaven? This is here on the earth. How are you going to see it up top? I'm on my way, Father. That's Abraham and all them? Yeah. No. I want you to see, we'll talk about this more later, but my point for right now is to understand that the one that's leaving is going to be the issue. Okay? I said, so where is the work to be done at? Where is we're supposed to be doing this work? Right here in this field, in this world, on this earth. Is everyone with me so far?
Same.
Okay. Not everyone that says unto me, Adon, Adon, or Master, Master, shall enter into the kingdom of Elohim, but he that does the will of my Father, which is in Shamayim, or heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Adon, Adon, have we not prophesied in your name? Have we cast out devils? And in your name have done many wonderful works. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity. Remember the word work, the word pa'al in the Hebrew, to work. If you're not working, if you're working iniquity, what does that mean, working iniquity first? How do you work iniquity? Okay. I couldn't really hear anything. Mm-mm. Oh, you got it. Okay, you good?
Someone else. I got one.
Okay.
You're working your own will, your own desires, in total contrast to the Father's will. You got your own agenda, working iniquity.
Okay, because we understand 1 John 3:4, sin is transgression of the law. Okay, awesome. All right. I think I got one more, and we'll go past this here. It says, Psalm 74:12 says, and Elohim is my king of old, working for all salvation in the midst where? He's working in the midst of the earth. Okay? Psalm 6:8 says, "Depart from me, all you workers, all of iniquity, for you has heard the voice of my weeping." And we just read that in the Brit Kadashah, right? In Matthew 7:21 and in Luke. So in all places, both sides of the book, depart from me, those that work iniquity. Iniquity is not allowed. And you got to ask yourself, well, what's iniquity in the Tanakh? Or it's the same iniquity that would be in the Brit Kadashah, commonly called the New Testament. It didn't change. Okay? All right. So, of course, if you don't believe, you got a couple of things. Salvation is done where? We said. And where will the kingdom be? Okay. So how many of us? Huh? This is where we're going to be. Okay. Or. Huh? Both of them got some earth in it, right? Okay. All right. But then you got to think about this here. Did he tell you that the kingdom is coming down to the earth? If the kingdom is coming down to the earth, well, where are you going? Okay, no problem. We'll see in a minute. Now, just to see if maybe this earth was not really useful for anything. The kingdom of heaven is coming to the earth. Isaiah 45:18 says, "For thus saith Yahuah that created the heavens, Elohim himself, that formed the earth and made it. He has established it. He created it not in vain, but he formed it to be inhabited. I am Yahuah, there is none else." Okay, it's coming down to the earth. Okay?
Revelation 22.
I couldn't hear you. You were outside.
That also says in Revelations 22.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Remember this, Isaiah 66:22 and 23. "For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith Yahuah, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new month, technically, to another, from one Shabbat to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahuah." In this new heaven and new earth, so are we going to, is this earth was made for a purpose? Yeah. Okay. Revelations 3:12. "Him that overcome will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my Elohim, and the name of the city of my Elohim, which is the New Jerusalem, which comes down out of Shamayim or heaven from my Elohim, and I will write upon him my new name." Okay, you see what's happening? It's coming down. So if one's being taken, you ask yourself, where are you going? And when you leave, you might be, if you don't know no better, you might be excited. "Thank you, Malakim. Where are we going?" He said, "Hey, no, I got you. I got you covered." He said, "Yeah, it sure is heating up in here." Yeah. So everyone understands. So I'm not here to really go over how this end time portion is going to work up until we talk about that within the next couple of months. Then we'll really get into some scripture. All right. So what holds the DNA together? Hydrogen bonds, covalent bonds. Bonds hold it together. So for right now, I want you to understand that these bonds are going to be a picture of us bonding together, right, to hold this helix together. So is everyone understanding what's happening here? So Mashiach says, hey, I'm coming out of the DNA, I'm coming out of the nucleus here, into this cytoplasm or into this world or into this field. I'm looking for some people that I can bond with. And the ones I'm bonding with has to meet certain criteria, as you will see in this DNA as we talk about next week. But my point is, he's trying to do it. Why? So he can get you to the Father, if you will, in the end, back into the nucleus. So let's say back into the garden, if you like. In Revelations talks about, all the overcome. That in Revelation 22:14, where it talks about that if you keep His commandments, you have right or access to the tree of life, may enter into the gate. You might come into the city. So in order to get into that city, someone has to direct you how to get there, which we'll see in just a minute. All right, so we'll see later in the series how RNA, the messenger, comes out of the nucleus into the cytoplasm, the world, and bonds, certain bonds that are compatible, which we'll see. Later, we will see how protein is a picture of us, how the force or the spirit and the word is what holds all things together. You can't hold things together yourself. We go up and down, men and women. We go through things. We need the Father to hold us together. But sometimes the Father sends somebody to you to help you hold things together. That's the bond that He's trying for us to learn, that you can see inside your body. We need to learn it outside the body. Okay? All right. So Colossians 1:17 says, and He is before all things, and by Him all things consist or hold together. Hold together. Look at that word in the Greek. All right. So this is the book of wisdom. It's in the Apocryphas. I give you history because some people don't really go that far out of the book and into the canonized book. But anyway, the book of wisdom is one of the books of the Apocrypha in the Septuagint, which is very old. The Vulgate, including the commonly called Old Testament, is the 1st century BC Greek works originated in Alexandria in Egypt. But this is what it says. For the Spirit of Yahuah fills the world, and that which contains or holds all things has knowledge of the voice. Okay? Still the same. So we got to understand that you're going to need His Spirit. You're going to need His Word. Right? These are your personal building blocks. And then after that, you're going to need one another. And then we do that, we start building that DNA strand. If not, you're leaving that RNA strand left to die. It's going to die at the end anyway, which we'll see later on next week. But the point is, the RNA came out, and He died for us to come together. That's the purpose of the RNA. Okay? All right. So things that are unseen can be seen through our works. The energy we use when using things we cannot see, His Word or His Spirit, right? So I only really know you by your works. Not everybody that comes say who they are is not really who they are. Okay? No, everyone has experienced that before? No? Oh, okay, just me? Okay, no problem. I want to go into your world. Luke 8:11 and 12. Now the parable is this: the seed is the word of Elohim. So seed, word Elohim go together. This is those by the wayside are they that hear what? They hear the word of Elohim. Then comes the devil and takes away the word of Elohim out of their heart, which we can't see. We can't see, right? But it's trying to get into things that you can't see. Spiritual places, spiritual things. If you're going to entertain spirits and demons, it will be able to influence you and remove certain things from you. Okay? At least they should believe and be saved. So it's something that you would want to have. All right. Last one on this part is Devarim 32:46, where it says, and He said unto them, set your heart unto all the words. Remember, His words is going to be spirit. His word is life. Word gives energy. We're going to see all of that later. Which I testify or I witness among you this day, which you shall command your children to observe to do. All the words of this law, this Torah. For it is not a vain thing for you to do. Someone told me it was a vain thing to do. Keeping the law, are you crazy?
The law is done away with.
No, well, not even that. I was gonna put the video of Creflo Dollar, but I said I'll wait. So anyway, it says because it is your life, and through this thing you shall prolong your days in the land with whether you over the Jordan and possess it. So it's designed to give you long life. John 6:63 says, "It is the spirit that quickens. The flesh profits nothing. The word that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are..." Now, question, what word did he give? Did he say anything about keeping laws, statutes, and commandments? Mashiach, because it's his words. I'm asking, did he, if his word is spirit and life, and everyone agrees, in his words, did he say anything about not doing law, statutes, and commandments? No. Okay. Did he do law, statutes, and commandments? Yes. And then it says for his disciples or his talmidim to go teach all that I have taught you. So if he taught it, remember, Matthew 19:16, whatever, hey, good man, what I need to have everlasting life. He says, why do you call me good? There's only one good, but Elohim, if you want to have eternal life or everlasting life, keep the commandments. Was he just playing then? Okay, and then, he says his words will judge you in the last days. So that means in the last days come, those words still will be standing. Mm-hmm. But that's why they didn't hear you. They didn't hear. You're still outside.
That was before he died. I keep, after he died and resurrected, it was a new graces come in.
Right, right. So that's why he said, "My words will judge you in the last day." So I'm trying to figure out the last day part.
Hey.
Oh, okay. All right.
My favor.
Mm-hmm.
My grace, I would say.
Oh, yeah. What is grace? Okay. All right. So the information understanding the process. This is just from an actual book, an actual university book. So I wouldn't expect you guys to be reading this. But DNA transcription is a process that involves transcribing genetic information from DNA to RNA. The transcribed DNA message or RNA transcript is used to produce protein. We're going to talk about protein next week. DNA is housed within the nucleus of our cells. It controls cellular activity by coding. We're going to talk about coding and codons. Okay, coding for the production of proteins. So you're going to want to figure out, us coming together, we're going to be creating protein. The information in the DNA is not directly converted into proteins, but must first be replicated into RNA. Okay? This ensures that the information contained within the DNA does not become tainted. So the only thing that can be tainted, if you will, is the RNA. Now, why is this important? Because if we, which we'll see in a slide in just a minute, if we attach ourselves to the RNA, that's the Mashiach, right? What do you think you become? Okay.
Like him?
Like him? Okay, and what is he? A messenger RNA. You become like an RNA. You become the messenger. And that means you're subject to be tainted.
Tainted.
Okay, is everyone with me so far? All right. So this process is to be replicated in us, just as it was from the Father to the Son. We must follow this process from generation to generation. This is us being messenger RNAs given to our children. They become messenger RNAs, and it's supposed to be a generational thing. Okay?
All right. Maybe I'm getting too deep. This is GNA. This is GED corn over here.
Mm-hmm.
The RNA, the original messenger RNA, when it duplicates or replicates, why is it that replica is subject to be tainted?
Because, in other words, so when the RNA comes out, it's coming out of the nucleus.
The original. Right.
So it's coming out of the DNA. He's exposing himself to the world. So either the world, if you're not careful, can get a virus or not a virus. The difference is how this RNA is traveling. I'm not saying that every time it comes out it's going to be tainted. What I'm saying is it can be tainted because it's not in the nucleus, it's in the cytoplasm, it's in the world. Okay?
Possibility for it to
Right. So when it leaves, when it comes out, if you will, outside of the nucleus, when it comes out, it's subject to everything, just like us. When we learn of his ways and we begin to share, we're subject to discrimination, tainted. Other people come in and they start to trying to attach themselves to you. So mind you, if you attach, which we'll talk about next week, if you attach some tainted information to the Mashiach, if you will, or the doctrine, if you will, it becomes a mutation. And that's when we'll talk about what mutation is.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so like we would do, we take on the ways of the people around us, and we then mutate into something else.
Right.
Trying to combine it with the original.
So you still got some of the original in it. It's just mixed. It's tainted. It's mutated. Okay.
So I think Yashron pretty much covered it, and you covered it, but I just wanted to break it down a little bit more for like parents that really not getting it. It's like with our children, we're trying to teach them the word and how to live life in a righteous way, but when they come of age, they want to move out and do their own thing, and by them doing that, they forget about the commandments, the feast days, and stuff like that, and they become tainted. And then when they want to return home or want to fellowship again, then it's pretty much hard for them to come back to the Father because of the things that they've been through.
Right. They've been went out into the world. They experienced what the world had to offer. That DNA to the world, to them, is the good DNA. The DNA that my parents have is different, or they done got so smart nowadays. Children really think they can outsmart the parents. I mean, they doing things that we've never did as far as they're concerned. So, you know.
They're inventing it.
Yeah.
It's the first time it ever happened.
Yeah, I don't want to hear nothing new under the sun. This one here is under Pluto. So therefore, this is what I did that you didn't do, Dad or Mom. But like I say, the minute you come out, you're that RNA. You got to understand that either you're going to bond yourself to the right RNA or the right person, and that person is going to be, which we'll talk about, perfect or mature, a mature strand that's allowed to be, that can actually go back into, if you will, the DNA, which we'll talk about in the future. Okay? All right. Father and Son, replication, not duplication. This is going to be, this may upset some people. Again, my objective is not to upset you. Okay? When a scribe rewrites a scroll, he is transcribing it to match the original. However, it is not the original. When he puts on flesh, for an example, the Mashiach, he is a duplication? Is he a replication? What is he? Because if he's not a duplication, you can't say he's the Father. Then we used to, like the Trinity doctrine, if you will. So my point is, what is the Messiah? If he's coming out from the Father, and he's lost something. When I say lost something, meaning it says that he lost his esteem, or it says the glory. He said, give me back that before the word. So that's been taken, that's been removed. Is he in a duplication of the Father at this point? Then he puts on flesh. Is he a duplication of the Father? Does everyone understand what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to offend. I'm just simply sharing that I think they misunderstand what they believe. I guess I'll say it that way. Okay? But we'll talk more about that in a little bit. John 2:11 says, this beginning of the miracles did Yahushua in Cana of Galilee, and manifested forth his esteem, and his Talmudim, his disciples, believed on him. So think about it. It says here, he manifested forth his esteem or his glory. What's the difference between that one and the one he left behind? See what I'm saying? In other words, he still had esteem, or commonly called glory, not like the one he had before the world was. Right? So when he left out of the DNA, he has, if you will, glory or esteem, but not like the one he had with the Father. He's replicating something, and he wants us to be replicated and mature in what is being replicated. So if a scribe is writing something, he's supposed to mature. Have you thought about something? Every time you write something, you get better and better at it. It could be the same thing. You can read the same thing, and you get better and better at it. Why is that, right? So anyway, we'll keep going. I digress. 17:5 says, "Now, O Father, esteem you me with your own self, with the esteem which I had with you before the world was." Okay? Is everyone with me so far? All right. So is this duplication or a replication? If so, why? So you should automatically know it's not what? Okay. I promise you it's not a trick question. All right. So Colossians 2:9 says, "For in him dwells all the fullness of the deity," or commonly called the Godhead, what? Bodily. Are you saying the Father has this bodily? The Father. Yes or no? Listen. For in him dwells all the fullness. You look the Greek word up, means to fill up. He's being filled up. Who's filling him up? The Father's filling it up, the deity, right? But it says deity bodily. What do you mean bodily? So,
in the flesh.
In the flesh. That's what I'm saying. So this is not the Father, right? Right. So he's giving you a pattern. That's why he's the perfect pattern of how to be like the Father, but in the flesh. That's the pattern. That's the picture. Okay? All right. 1988 says this: "Generation after generation, through countless cell divisions, the genetic heritage of living things is scrupulously preserved in DNA. All of life depends on the accurate transmission or information. As genetic messages are passed along through generations of dividing cells, even small mistakes can be life-threatening." Tell me, just off of this here, what can you get out of it scripturally?
Stay on the path to Yahuah.
Okay. All right.
Passing on the wrong information, meaning passing on the wrong information or going by another belief and passing it on to someone else.
Okay. Anyone else?
Straying away from the Torah.
Okay.
And from Ruach. Set apart Ruach.
Okay.
Adding or taking away from the word.
That's
Good.
what I was just getting ready to say. Do not add or take away from the word.
Okay, good. Because why? You're passing. The messages are being passed throughout, right?
Creating your own doctrines.
Yes, like once you know the truth, you might as well go ahead and stick with it, because if you don't, death's coming.
Okay. Because if not, it says generations of dividing cells. It's going to start generations of separation, right, which was happening. And then even small mistakes, just little mistakes, is what? Life-threatening.
And that's what happened to us.
Mm-hmm.
Like that rapture?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
the fathers lost their way. They passed down some bad information. They get passed down again. They passed down again.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
All right, so this part I want you all to see, and then we're about to wrap it up a little bit here.
Came like Christianity.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So son to the body, making one. Okay, my bad. I fixed that. But it says Ephesians 2:15, having abolished in his flesh the enmity. Now listen, I put this is the RNA dying and connecting us to his source. He's coming out. He knows he has to die, but the objective is to connect you with his DNA. So now when you heard the Mashiach talking about, I'm in you, you in me, well, how could he say that? When the RNA connects, then after it dies, it's still a part of you. Okay, so we'll see that in the future. But anyway, even the law of commandments in ordinance for to make in him, now I put here, this can only happen outside the nucleus. Remember, you can't do nothing inside the nucleus. Nothing. So when he sends the son out to make some one in him, the RNA, that's done on the cytoplasm or out in the world, if you will. So this is how we can get that. So now we can be a joint heir to be able to come back in. Okay? So anyway, of two, one new man. So he's going to make the two. Look at this this picture here, the Father up top, if you look at the DNA, the black is you, okay, connecting to the Mashiach, if you will, and to make you one with the Father. Is everyone with me so far? Can anyone see the situation here? All right. So, making peace, meaning bonding to make one. You're going to need bonding. You're going to have to make it one. Ephesians 2:16, and that he might reconcile both unto Elohim in one body. Right? So we're going back where? We're trying to make it back to the Father. Right? Elohim and nobody by the stake, having slain the enmity thereby, and came and preached peace to you, which were afar off, and to them that were nigh. For through him we both have access by one Spirit unto the Father. The objective is to make the two become one. That is the objective, right? So the idea of the RNA is to separate, right, to bring in a new strand and give it life. You are the new strand, right, to give you life. What would this RNA be looked as in Scripture? Right, so, but this RNA, the RNA, what is he looked at? So I'll give it to you. We're going to read it. 1 Timothy 2:5. For there is one Elohim and one mediator between Elohim and men, the man Yahushua Mashiach. That's the mediator. Here comes this mediator out to draw you back to the Father by bonding with you to give you an opportunity to be with the Father. Is everyone with me? Okay. So now we're going to see a little bit of that. And you take, so make sure to turn it off. All right, so blood is very important for redemption and covenant. Colossians 1:14 says, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins. 2 Timothy 1:9 says, who has saved us and called us with the Kadash, or set apart calling, not according to our works, but according to his own purpose and favor, which was given us in Yahushua Mashiach when? Before the world was. So there is something given to him before. There's a covenant, there's an agreement made before the world was. So when he comes in and he's connecting you based off of something that was an agreement before the world was, right? All right, Ephesians 1:3 says, blessed be the Elohim of Father of our Adon, Yahushua Mashiach, who has blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places in Mashiach, according as he has chosen us in him before the foundations of the world, that we should be set apart, a chodesh, and without blame before him in love. Okay? So, again, is everyone following? All right. All right. Leviticus, the blood. Leviticus 17:11. Does anyone want to read that in Hebrew? Not today? It's not your day? All right. So it says kihadam, which means literally what? For the blood. Who means he or it. So it says kihadam hu benefesh yekaper. Right? So basically this is saying for the blood that gives you or makes atonement for you or gives you life. Everyone agrees, right? So Matthew 26:28 says, for this is my blood of the new covenant or renewed covenant, which is shed for many for the remission of sin. So what I want you to take away as we keep going is that you're about to die to yourself, right? Your ways, all that sin, and you're going to be a new strand. And he's trying to attach you to him, right? So that's his point of dying, and everyone else thereafter is going to die. At least they should. You know, their old self should be dead, right? And that's why we always, like when we talk about emergence, talking about what happened in the past resurrects the old stuff. It's just not good. It's just not healthy. Because why? You start to reflect on it. You start thinking about it. It makes you up angry. It can do a lot of stuff. It is not healthy for you, right? Especially if you deemed it as sin and you believe that sin is gone. Why then still dwell upon sin? Right? So anyway, we'll keep going. Shemot 24:8 or Exodus 24:8 says, and Moshe took the blood, sprinkled it on the people, and said, behold, the blood of the covenant, which Yahuah has made with you concerning all these words. How did he make it with him? Remember, all this is dealing with what's in the blood. That's why we're doing this DNA to share with you that the things that you see inside dealing with the blood is the same principle on the outside. There's no difference, right? So behold the blood of the covenant that you have made with you concerning all these words. Hebrews 12:24 says, and to Yahushua, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaks better than the things of Habel or Abel, right? So again, this blood is very important. It's dealing with the covenant. It's dealing with understanding it gives you life. So now this blood is very important to understand, not just in our bodies, but outside our bodies. Okay, is everyone with me so far? So what is the common theme here? In order for a body to be formed, something has to bring it together. The DNA never leaves the nucleus. The information must come out so to make more sons and daughters, right? So the question is, how does that happen? The mediator, the Mashiach is the mediator. He's the one coming up to make more sons, more daughters. He's the messenger. And if you attach yourself to him, you're essentially attaching yourself back to the Father. Okay? So, he's now creating more sons and daughters. That's the objective. All right? I think it's up to next week. Yeah, so next week, about the leading and lagging strand. I said, so we will pick up next week on how the leading strand is a picture of Yahushua the Mashiach, and the lagging strand is a picture of us. So more on that next week. Yeshe Aelot. Okay. Anyone have any questions? Mm-hmm.
What is mRNA?
Messenger RNA. Mm-hmm. Or messenger ribonucleic acid.
Hand raised, Malek.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Got a question. Okay, this has been in the back of my mind for a long time now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we just went over Mashiach and the Father and about being a duplication or replication and things of. Okay, so in the end, when Shamayim is supposed to come to the earth, and it says that Yahuah will dwell with his people. So at that point, is it in reference to Yahusha or Yahuah in his whole entirety? And if it is in his whole in his full glory, then what happens to Mashiach in his bodily, with the soul that was created when Yahuah put itself into flesh?
Okay, so are you asking basically in layman's terms, you're asking, so what's going to happen to Mashiach in the latter days?
Right.
Okay, he's going to be he's going to be at the right hand of the Father. That's just where he's at. He's not going to be absorbed back into the Father more than it is that, because he became, I don't want to say he became a living soul, but I guess in layman's terms I'll say that we're all going to see him. Then it says, according to 1 Corinthians, I think it's 1 Corinthians 15, where it says the Son himself will be subjected to the Father, that he be all in all. So in other words, he is still going to be, he's not going to be like when you see him, he's okay, bye, I'm going inside the Father and you'll never see me again. No, remember it says he's going to have a new name and everything.
Right. Okay, I do remember saying that. So, so to say that Yahuah and Yahusha is one and the same isn't all the way correct then.
Right. If you could just drop the same, then you'll be good. Meaning that, remember Mashiach says, I pray that they be one as we are one. Notice he says if you're married, he says make the two become one.
One.
So he's saying the word one in Hebrew is achad, which means to be unified, to be in agreement with each other.
See, that's what I always felt it was in my bones. But then I was under other teachings that was where it was telling me that no, it's one in the, like they're the same one. He just a physical manifestation of the Father.
Oh, you was thinking about the ice, water, and vapor. And what they do in church is the water, it's the ice, it's the vapor. I got you, Aki.
Basically.
I understand.
To that remark.
No problem. Someone else had one?
And then Nancy had a question. What is the covenant of salt?
Okay, so a covenant of salt, if you go back to in the Torah, basically everything that your meats and stuff, you're supposed to put salt on it. The principle behind that basically is salt should never lose its flavor, and that by putting the salt on the meat and stuff that you give it a sacrifice to the Father, that means it should never lose its flavor. So the salt covenant essentially later on lets you know that he's always going to have Israel as his own, because salt will never lose its flavor, neither will Israel lose its flavor. Okay. All right, so that concludes that part of the class. I know we wanted to do something else, so I don't know if you want to stop the recording on this portion.
Yeah, stop the recording.
And I think Iris had something, correct? Yes. Okay.
Shalom to my family. How is everything going? The Heavenly Father, Barak to all of you in the name of His Son. So I do my best. So I hope that you can